Okay, so the issue, right, was Pac-Man hits the ball, grows to an enormous size, and dies. So we need the ball to go away every time Pac-Man hits it, and we need it to go into a different spot. So we are not going to do this inside the inner frame loop function because this isn't going to happen. It's just going to happen once every time he hits the thing. So I'm going to put this, put it outside down here. So I'm going to create a function called random place. And this is just going to randomly put the ball in a spot. Yes?
What you've recorded, how long will it be before you put it on white space?
I don't know. I think...
Does it record your voice and everything? Like, is it
yeah.
recorded? Oh, okay.
The first one, yep, it's already ready, so that'll be on pretty quick.
It, like, to catch up when I get home.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, both of them will be on here probably by the end of class. So
okay, awesome.
it processes pretty quick. Okay, so ball.x. We have to assign the ball a different location. So I'm going to say ball.x equals, there's a built-in command called math.random. And that's going to generate a number between 0 and 1, I think. And I'm going to do the same thing with the y coordinate. Now the problem here is, okay, so every time I run this, it's going to say, okay, ball.x is going to be 0.2 and ball.y is going to be 0.8. Well, that's barely going to move it at all. So I need to times that by a value that will give me something between 0 and the width of the stage. And on this one, something that'll give me a value between 0 and the height of the stage. Well, lucky for us, there is stuff that'll do that. So times stage dot stage width. It's just a built-in property that gives us the width of the stage and the height of the stage. So if we run this a couple times, so let's say it gave us, 0.9, right? Well, we times that by the width. I think the width is 400. I'm not sure. Well, that gives us 360. So it would be put at 360 pixels. So let's say math.random gives us 0.96. Well, times that by 400 gives us 384. So timesing it by the width and timesing it by the height now gives us this math random that's going to give us a value between 0 and the stage width and 0 and the stage height. So it could be put literally anywhere on the stage. Now, it still gives us a problem, though. And I didn't know this until I ran it and was playing around and stuff. So, it's put in a random spot, but the problem is it can still... What if Pac-Man touches it and then the random spot is somewhere in the spikes? Or he touches the ball and now the random spot goes back into Pac-Man and then we have him growing like crazy again. So we need another if statement that's like, look, if the ball goes inside the spikes, run it again. If the ball goes into Pac-Man, run it again. Just keep running this function until the ball is somewhere that we're okay with. And there may be better ways of doing this, but this is what I did and that's how I ended up getting it to work. So inside this function, we need to say, okay, if the ball, we'll do the first one here. So if ball dot hit test object, okay, so if the ball appears inside of Pac-Man, well, we need to run it again. And to run it again, we just call the function from within inside the function. So if the ball shows up and hits Pac-Man, it's just going to run it again. But there's a bunch of other conditions we need to check for. Or box.y, not box, ball.y plus 120 is greater than the stage height. Now you may be asking, why the heck are you using 120? It's the number that I found just kind of ends up working the way I want it to. Get that out of there. So ball.y plus 120 is greater than the stage height. So this is down here. I'm checking for, let's move this over. Can I move it over? Just move it over. It's so freaking hard to show both of these. I hate it. So let's say, so the y coordinate, gosh dang it, I'm just going to close out of this for now. So the y coordinate up here is 0, and the y coordinate down here is what, 800? 800. So if the random thing comes back and it gives me like 790 for the y coordinate, I can't have the ball down in here because then I can't get the ball without dying. So what I'm saying here is if the ball's y coordinate is something plus 120 is more than the stage height, then that gives me about 120 space here, 120 pixel space. And you can play with that value to kind of get it to be what you want. But say if, like, you know, it comes back as 600. Well, 620 or 6 plus 120 is 720. Well, that's still less than 800, so I'm okay. So it can be there. That's fine.
Could you not just do a hit detection for the ball on the spikes?
If you do that, I did that actually. That was one of the first things I did. But I think the thing is, it just wasn't working the way I wanted to, and I can't remember why. I want to say that the ball still would appear a little bit into the spikes. I want to say, I mean, you can try that, and if it works for you, great. I remember that is one of the first things I tried, is I'm like, well, okay, if the ball hits the spikes, great. But I think the problem is it still got embedded a little bit, so I still couldn't get to it. So I wanted to put in that buffer, so really the ball can only appear kind of in this area, right, where it's like nowhere near at all, the spikes. But like I said, you can try it, and if that works for you, great. If not, then you'll want to do kind of the method that I did. Is just, all right, you know, if the y coordinate that they gave me plus 120, that gives me that 120 buffer, is more than the height, then I know it needs to be ran again.
Another language you can do, like when you do pick the random number, the random spot, did you do between a range of numbers?
Yes.
So you could do a range between defined edges, basically.
Probably yes. Let's go back. I know you can in JavaScript. I don't know about ActionScript. Math.random. I think you might. Let's see. And if it works like JavaScript, you would do something like math.random, and then you'd have like 0, 100.
Right.
If it works like the other languages I've dealt with. They're doing it in a weird way. I don't know. We'd have to look that one up a little bit. Not 100% positive on that one. But yeah. Yeah, if, I don't know, probably. I'm sure it has something like that, but I just don't know if it's math.random. It might be a different function or different method. But anyways, so I'm going to continue with the OR statements here. So I just need one of those that checks all the different sides. So the next one is box.x, not box, ball, jeez, ball.x. And I've found that kind of 120 is the magical number on the top and bottom. So 120 is greater than stage.stage width. Okay, so that's checking over here. So if the ball.x plus 120 is greater than the width, then we know that it's somewhere inside of here, and we don't want that. So we want it to be somewhere over here and back. So we've checked down here, we've checked over here, now we need to check these other ones. And this is also getting us into, if you don't want your character, like if you don't have this border going around and you don't want your character to go off the screen, it's going to be the same thing. So if pacman.x is less than 0, you know, pacman.x, if his x coordinate is less than 0, that means he's outside of it. That means he's outside of here. So when he gets to less than 0, then you would just set the x coordinate to 0. So you would have that inside of the loop. You would just say if pacman.x is less than 0, that means he's going off the stage, then you would just set his x value back to 0. And then that would keep him from going off the stage. And the same thing here, like if pacman.x is greater than stage.width, that means he's going off the stage, then you would set it, his x coordinate back to stage.width, probably minus how wide he is, which you can find right there. He's 68.5 pixels wide. So that's how you would keep him from going off the stage. But again, like I said, we could do that individually later, just because mine doesn't handle that. But that's how you get going. That's how you start with getting him not going off the stage, if you don't have the borders. All right, ball.y. The other one is I found 115. It's less than 0. Or ball.x. Minus 115, less than 0. So this is checking the bottom. This is checking the right side. This is checking the top. And that's checking the left side. So if any of those, if it's appearing in any of those square, if it touches the, okay, Pac-Man touches the ball, and then if it's in any of those spikes, then it's just going to run random place again. And it does it so quickly, it could run this, you know, 24 times or so a second before you would even notice anything. So it does it quick enough to make sure that the ball's always somewhere that's not inside the spikes or not on Pac-Man. Okay, and then when everything starts, we want to run random place as well. I just had it right here. I don't think it really matters that much where you put it. But when the game's getting set up and everything's getting loaded, I want to run random place so the square or the ball is always in a different spot when the game first starts up. And I could do the same thing with Pac-Man, put him in a random spot, but I don't really want to do that. I'm okay with just doing it with the ball. So you can call functions in just one line of code, and that's how you do it right there. You just type out the function. That's it. Hiya. Okay, so the ball was in a random spot. Uh-oh. Oh. Tell me how to fix this. He's still growing and he's still getting huge and the ball still isn't going in a random spot. How do I fix that? What the heck? It just, gosh, it keeps reconnecting. This is the kind of stuff you got to ask yourself, and these are the kind of questions you need to answer to be able to build your game. So you're going to be running into issues, and you got to think, okay, why is it doing that? Why is it not doing what I want it to, and how do I fix it? So it's still doing that. I wrote out the code.
Is it because you're not calling the function?
Yeah, when do I need to call the function? Yeah. So when Pac-Man hits the ball, I need to call that function and put it in a random spot. There we go. Sweet. So now let's try it again. And I can't even see the dang ball because my screen's too small, so it's probably, I'm just gonna go die. Try that again. Okay, there it is. So I hit the ball. Woo! It's gone. Went to a different spot. And my score went up and Pac-Man got a little bit bigger. And I died. Come on, Pac-Man, you can do it. Yeah. Okay. Hard to play on these dumb emulators. But hey, it's working. It's doing what I wanted. So it goes down, get it. He gets a little bit bigger. The score's going up. I should probably turn up the sound just to make sure all the sound's working. Come back, Pac-Man, come back. Holy cow. You know it. Yeah. Died. And again, this just means that it can't access the stuff on the game screen, and that's fine. You just hit dismiss, you're good to go. Happy days. And it's so sad. So now the question for you guys is, do you want to see how to put it on your phone today, or you want to do that next week?
Next week.
To me, next week seems to make the most sense because you'll have this week to kind of get working on it, get it working. Yeah, we'll do it next week. So next week I'll show you how to take the game once it's finished or close to being finished, throw it on your phone, and then test it out that way, because that's really, I think, the best way to test it.
Next week is when it's due, or the week after that?
It's not going to be due next week.
Okay. But you should have it at least.
Have it close. Not close, but like in development.
Yeah.
Like have your idea solidified, have all the stuff made, have all the code written. Next week we'll use as a time to kind of troubleshoot stuff. I can help you flesh out your ideas. If you have an idea and you're not sure how to do it, I can help you figure it out. This is week 7, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Sorry.
So to be honest, like we're probably gonna have like 2 weeks to work on this now. Like 2 weeks to flesh it out, get it finished. Next week I'll show you how to get it on the phone.
Okay.
Next week will be finish it up, and then week 10 and 11 will be the final project.
Okay, so week 9, like whenever you grade after week 9, it's due.
Yeah.
So.
I'm going to go and reflect that in Brightspace. But anyways.
But technically Monday, because that's when you grade.
Hey. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
following day.
Or do you, I don't know. Do you guys think that's too much time?
No, I think that works.
Next week to kind of get it on your phone, then one more week to finalize it? Or do you guys think next week should be enough time to finish this?
What is the final?
The final is you're creating a mini website that hosts all the stuff that you've built in here. So you'll have a landing page that you go on there. There's a link for all the projects that you've done in here, and you click on it and it will take you to.
Okay.
So basically you get everything hosted on your site, and then you make a page that gets you to access it. Little mini portfolio page.
The stuff
So
that we
that's
did in
not
this
that
class,
hard, honestly.
just in this class.
Oh, my mom is facing.
If you want to throw more stuff on there, that's fine. But the point is a little mini web page that shows off all the work that you've done in here.
Okay, that's like for future help with our like portfolio and stuff, kind of, correct? Like learning, like we're gonna code it from scratch, correct?
You can, or you can use a template.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is not a, this isn't a scripting class, so I've had students just grab a template off some website and use it, and that's totally fine.
Cool.
Doesn't matter to me on this one.
Okay.
My mom is like calling me.
So I guess for now, we'll just plan on, you know, the next 2 weeks working on this game, finishing it out, fleshing it out, getting all your stuff done. And then 10 and 11 will be, well, the sooner you get the game done, the
Yeah,
better,
then you
because
can
then you
start
can,
working
yeah,
on it.
start on the final. So,
Did I flash that in your eyes? Okay.
Nope.
'Cause you like turned your head straight away. I was like, oh shit.
nope.
Sorry.
All right, so that's all I got. I'm going to stop recording here. And then any questions, well, I'll leave it here so you can pause the video later. Grab the code if you want. Okay.
I'm not.